Ine zina yanga ndine Beverly Mlauzi, nichoka Muwange. Nili Muwange nikhala ku Dete Ward 18 pamene nzesebenzera. Nili pansi pa Restless Development Organization Zimbabwe. So ine ninayamba naenda ku training kaphunzisiwa kuti ntchito yanga nichita kanjani muntu mung'ono amene azakhala ali kulanga vinango bali kukula bali monga ine. So training iyi tinaichita for 5 days. Tinaichitira ku Harare. Tabuya tinaphunziswa vosiyana-siyana. Tinaphunziswa ma topics osiyana, same leadership, ma life skills, livelihoods, and so forth. Then tinatafika ma communities, tinakambana na vachikulire vatu, ma counselors na mapolisa na vinango na vinango ma stakeholders ameti nawo ametikhala nawo mu place mwatu. So kuti batithandize kuti ntchito yamene tiri kuchita monga tisenza na anthu vaching'ono vashupa kukamba nawo. So at least pakakhala na munthu wachikulire kuphambeni batithandiza ndiye kuti tipeze kuti kuvadinga kati tivadinge komushe.
So we are very happy that you are here today, and we want to take a back seat and listen so attentively from you guys, because we know that we can program ourselves, we can assume that this is what you want, but without your involvement and without you, that intake from you guys, then we will not reach anywhere. So we really want to appreciate for coming, and we applaud for that. But we also want to listen the journey that we have walked thus far, and learn a lot. We are here to learn. Yes, definitely, we are here to learn from you guys. So as I want to encourage you, I know sometimes when there are elders and people are holding their heads like this, with these books, trying to hide whatever, please don't be intimidated. Don't be intimidated. We are your friends, and from here on, we are going to Tirol. We are going to Tirol. I understand that Mr. Mbewe introduced me and said, Mr. DDC, we introduce the council, but from here on, we are at the same level. So we are going to Tirol. We are also going. If you say to us, when we are doing our sessions, we sing, we jump, we are going to join you. We are going to do that. So please feel free and use us. This is your opportunity to use us.
Here to talk about why you are here. So generally, it's about the Youth Community Leaders Project that we've been implementing here in Cholocho, including Binga and other districts, other 12 districts that we've been implementing the youth community leaders. So these are the young people who have been leading all the community work that we've been doing. Like the DDC said, it's really good to see young people taking the lead in initiating development actions in their communities, development initiatives in their communities. Because overall what we want to see is to create young leaders who care for their communities. So that's the main objective that we want. But for today, we want to connect with the young leaders, the young people that we have here, the key stakeholders together, and reflect the project that we have been doing with the young community leaders. So that's what we are here to do, to see the successes listed down and not the successes that have happened, the challenges that they've faced, and also look at the way forward, the recommendations for the next phase. We are going to recruit another batch of young leaders who are going to lead community work. So for us to do that, we need to learn from what we've been doing before. And so generally, that's what we are going to do. Then we are going to have some lessons learned to inform us our continuous work and improvement in project implementation. So what we've been doing in the community, we need to really start thinking, implement that stop, start, and continue. Say, what should we stop doing? What should we start doing? What should we continue doing? So those are the main objectives why we are here together, including those from Wange, and we have also another stakeholders representing the guys from Wange. So we also want to he's going to take back the report and also inform other stakeholders, this is what we have learned, this is what our young people are doing, and this is what we need to start doing, this is what we need to stop doing, and this is what we need to continue doing. So I think just a little bit background of the project. It's a project that we've been targeting young people generally, 18 to 35 years. So generally that was our target group. So like I said, the project's also in Matabeleland, in Midlands, in Harare, then we have Masvingo, Mashonaland West, then here, Mat North, that's Hwange and Cholocho. That's why we have these young people from Hwange and Cholocho. So the main aim of the project is to enhance youth empowerment and positive engagement. So that's the main aim of the project, enhance youth empowerment and positive engagement. In whatever they are doing, we want to create resilient young leaders in the communities, young leaders who can respond to any issues that are coming up in their communities. It only can be done if young people are empowered and they are positively engaged in whatever we are doing. So that's the main reason for this war project, why we are doing this war project. So basically we recruited 38 young leaders. So these young leaders, they went through a 7-month young leaders journey, their volunteer journey. We popularly know them as volunteers, yeah? But these are young community leaders, so they went through a 7-month journey, 38 of them from the 12 districts I mentioned. And they also went through a foundation training, so these young people were also capacitated on how they can do their work. You know, they went through a 5-day training on how best they can deliver some of the community activities that they were doing, and they have their own manual that they use to deliver sessions. So you hear from their presentation, they'll be talking more of sessions that they've been doing. So that's the kind of training that they went through. How best can they organize community events? How best can they deliver sessions to their peers? What other issues are arising in the community, and how best can they tackle them together? That was the overall goal of the training. So they've got their own manual, the YCO framework, which comprise topics like youth leadership, basic rights, life skills, comprehensive sexuality education, advocacy, entrepreneurship and livelihoods, as well as community engagement using non-formal education techniques. So whenever they were doing these sessions, they always use non-formal education techniques. You'll find out that many young people, they don't want to go the formal way. Yeah, it's kind of boring, but they want the non-formal. So these guys were also taken through how best can they deliver any session, where they are giving them a session on livelihood, they need to do it the non-formal way. They've also been, mobilizing young people and cascading sessions, like I said, in their communities. So they've been having young people whom they've been training as well. So on different courses that I've mentioned, topics like youth leadership, livelihoods, and entrepreneurship as well. They've also been conducting youth dialogues. So these dialogues were focusing on different issues that are, topical in their communities. So you'll find out maybe there's issue of maybe a burning issue on drug abuse. So they'll come together as young people, discuss what are the root causes of this drug abuse. Why are young people engaged in drug abuse? What are the authorities doing? What is the community doing? What can we do as young people? Then try to find local solutions to some of these issues they've been doing. So these were the youth dialogues that they've been doing as well. So they've also some youth-led community activities that they've been doing. I talked about initiatives that they've been coming up with themselves, including awareness raising campaigns, whether it's on child marriage, drug abuse, anything that they find particular to that community. So they've been doing that as well. Even commemorating internationally recognized days, having career fairs, having cleanup campaigns that they've been doing, complementing what the government have been already doing. So they've just been amplifying what the Ministry of Youth have been doing, what the Ministry of Women Affairs have been doing, and what other government departments have been doing as well. So their role was also to amplify and engage other young people to be involved in community development activities. So they've also been organizing some mutual leader engagement discussions. So a leader can be anyone even from the local hospital. How can we talk to the nurse in charge about a particular issue that is burning in their community? That's when they implement their advocacy work. that they've been doing in the community. So those are some of the sessions they've been doing. Some of them have been featuring radio sessions, discussing issues that have been happening in their communities. They want other young people to be aware, so they use their other community radio stations as well. So those are some of the initiatives they've been doing. So after these guys have completed their 7 months, they are not weaned off completely. They still have a journey that they need to continue. So they've been supported to do activities in the community within the 7 months. Then after 7 months, they have to go back to their communities and do their own initiative. We call them Action at Home. Yeah. So these guys, they'll be at home and say, okay, I was part of a young leader of restless development. Now I need to come up with solutions myself. So they'll organize with their peers and come up with the initiative. So they can say, maybe at the local board, they can fence it, they can, rehabilitate roads, depending on issues that they want to work on. So those are called Action at Home initiatives. Or they can decide to continue doing the sessions that they've been doing. That's still an Action at Home activity they'll be doing as well. So these guys, they'll become our alumni, yeah? Part of a group that have been engaged with restless development. So the volunteer journey doesn't stop when they are done with their 6 months, contractual 6 months, but they continue their Action at Home and they continue to be part of alumni, mentoring other young people who will be coming again to be youth community leaders in this community. So those are some of the activities that these young people have been doing in their communities. And like we said, we are here to listen to the successes, to the challenges, and also get some recommendations from your stakeholders and even from the young people to say, you know what, last time we were doing this, I think the next batch of young people who are coming to work here, if they work this way, or if they engage this kind of stakeholders, or if they mobilize young people in this way, it's going to work better. So that's what we are here to do. So we really need everyone to be able to contribute, listen to them, give them feedback, and also see what can we do better in future, because our overall goal is to improve the program.
Hi, my name is Alice, an artificial intelligence presenter at SITE. Tune into the Breakfast Club, a current affairs program on Esaki Online every weekday at 9 a.m. We also have a woman-focused program, Girl Let's Talk, every Thursday at 10 a.m. And Fix My City, a service delivery program at 10 a.m. every Friday on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Make sure to follow SITE on all social media platforms and visit our website at www.site.org.cw.
So we all have to keep our numbers in mind, right? Right. So the concentration game goes like this. If I say concentration, 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 concentration. Then here is the challenge now. So I'm 1. I'm going to say concentration, concentration. Then 117, concentration. He's 17, right? Right. So when I call up your number, you first start by calling your number first. Like I'm 1, so I'm going to say 15 or 17, 18. So once you hear your number, you have to say, if your number is 7, you say 710. You call up another number, a different number, right? That exists though within our room here. So are we good to go? Yes. Are we good? Yes. So, because you forgot your number.
I'm old, you can see.
No, we're all young. We're all young. No one is old here, right? Okay, so we're going to go concentration, 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 concentration. 1-8 concentration. 8. Where's 8? Where's 8? So 8 is going to sit down. He's out. So when I call your number, you respond with your number first, then the other number that you're going to call, right? Let's try again. Concentration, 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 concentration. 115 concentration, 15
6, concentration.
7, concentration.
7, 10, concentration.
11, concentration. 2, concentration.
You repeated the number. Let's go once more. We're going, right? So we have 8 and you are 11. So 8 and 11, they're out, right? Right. Let's go again. Concentration, 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 concentration. 1, 9, concentration.
5, 4, concentration.
Okay, thank you.
So let us use different languages. We're all Zimbabweans, aren't we? Let's enjoy, let's have fun. And for those who want to ask questions, feel free to ask questions. For those who want to add, feel free to raise your hand. Let's just have fun. And we are about to start the significant part of the day, where we will have a presentation from our youth community leaders. Abantu ababeyibo ababe ku ground, and the people who were actually on the ground, the team that was actually on the ground dealing with our youth champions. So I will hand over to the team.
We equipped with information. After that, we gave the feedback to the communities, to the district where we come from. The first people that we met to give the feedback were the police and the councillor, such that they will help us in the mobilization of the youth. After that, we went on to mobilize people. In the mobilization, there are strategies that we used to mobilize youth and other organizations. In the objectives of the organizations, we used posters as a strategy to mobilize youth. Posters were written by the councillor for the first meeting called the sessional meeting, to meet all the stakeholders in the villages, in the district, in the communities, to introduce what we thereafter in Harare. So posters were put on the boreholes, bus stops, and the other areas where people meet.
In my case, I used social media platforms. We have platforms like, in my case, I used the Facebook. I have a Facebook account in which I used to reach out to young people. I also used WhatsApp groups. I have groups in my community, like in Ward 18. We have a group called the CEAA Residents Association group that is in my community. So I made use of that, and other social platforms as well, like the Wange Youth Group. I also mobilized using those.
Okay. In my case, I use door-to-door campaigns, interaction with young people, and also I also use public meetings, which have been a cornerstone for effectively communication and community.
Okay, and again, in my case, in my community, we have what we call a town crier. Like we have someone that is assigned by the council. He's called a town crier. Yeah, that's the term that we use for him. So the councillor assigns him, and he goes around the community using the main road or others, just going around, spreading out the word that there's going to be a program or whatever program that is going to be there. So you'll be going out in the community, spreading the word. So that's the other method that I used in mobilizing young people. Then, and I also made use of the councillor, and during public gatherings, I would talk to him beforehand and use that opportunity. He would introduce me and give me a platform, introduce myself, and give one or two and talk about the program and what I was doing what I was going to be doing in the community. And so that was the other way that I used for mobilization. Then we're going to move on and look at the activities that we conducted during these past 7 months. So from the activities, we were cascading sessions. Over to you.
In cascading sessions, we were given the framework. So we used the framework which had topics to cover. We had 7 topics to cover. But unfortunately, we only covered 5 topics. We also had dialogues with young people whereby we were talking about drug and substance abuse together with GBV.
Okay, we also did dialogues, and those dialogues we were talking about gender-based violences and drug abuse.
Okay, then also on the activities that we conducted, we did cleanup campaigns. That's in my case, we went to the old people's home. We have an old people's home in my community. That is the Data Old People's Home. I think some of you are aware of it. So we did a cleanup campaign there, and also at the business center, that is Data Business Center, we had our cleanup campaigns there. Then also, as a way of giving back to the community at the end of the year, that was last year, we decided as a group of young people, we contributed the little that we had. We bought a few things, then went to the old people's home, and with the little that we had bought, we offered our services there. We helped in washing and cleaning. Then after that, we prepared lunch for them, and we had lunch together. So that was what we did at the end of the year as a way of giving back to the community.
In my case, we visited the 2 old people, whom were Mr. Mleya and Mr. Ngobe. After that, we cleaned their yard, we fetched the water for them, we washed their plates, we fetched firewood for them, and then we contributed money and bought some groceries for them.
Okay, in my case, we decided to give the community by cleaning the schools. We went there and cleaned the school.
Okay, so we're going to move on and further look on to the successes that we had during our time. So, as for the successes, we noticed youth taking up leadership roles in the community. In my case, I had 2 young women who took up to campaign for the seat for the councillor, although they didn't manage to, their names didn't come up on the ballot papers. Then we also have young people coming up, like I mentioned earlier. We have a Data Residents Association. We now have a voice for the youth. So we have a chair and a vice chair and a secretary standing up in the Data Residents Association, standing in for the youths.
Okay, as for I was impressed by entrepreneurship topic because cooperative groups were formed. It was easier for them because they were putting what they know on the action.
In my case, I have youth who took positions in leadership in the community. I can give an example of Zephania Muleya. She is now the chairperson of the Makwandara Nutritional Garden. Nanzelelo Maposa, she is now the SDC committee member at Kurambira Primary and the chairperson at Nembira Secondary School. Irene Chuma, she is the secretary in the water committee. And the Pepani Zulu is now the secretary of the village head. And then we have other youths who, after cascading sessions on livelihoods, we're talking about entrepreneurship. So now we have other entrepreneurs there are some other youths who have turned assets into business. I have the likes of Skanyisi, where she is now selling cosmetics. Marvelous, she's now selling clothes. Nanzelelo Maposa is selling groceries. Myself, I'm running a chicken project.
Okay, so again on entrepreneurship, yeah, they've mentioned lots of them, and personally, again, I had a passion for hairdressing and beauty, so I managed to open a salon. I now have a salon operating there. It was one of the things that had motivated me, and so I stood up and took the chance to start something for myself. Then we also have more young people participating in community activities. For instance, in my case, in Dete, we've got it's an area that is in the Wange National Park. So we've got water pipes bursting. Some of them probably by the elephants. So at times, the board from the Zinwa would ask for manpower to come and help dig up the pipes and for maintenance and all that stuff. So previously, looking at people that were going to assist, most of them were like elderly people. Like we have people ranging from the ages of probably, let's say, the 40s and the likes, probably his age. Or maybe his age. Then we didn't have young people going there, right? But now we've noticed changes. Even the councillor himself made a comment, and he was saying actually the sessions did have an impact on the youth, because they now participate in community activities. Like I'm saying, this one, they now go and they can now go and assist with the maintenance there at the Zinwa. Then we have also they now are also partake in attending funerals. Like when there is a funeral, we have the forest company that is looking at the forestry. They offer a truck. Then they would want manpower to go and cut firewood for the family that has that has been affected with the deceased, or where there is a funeral. Then you would find again, we have these elderly people that are going instead of us young people. So now we're seeing young people now attending those funerals, now going there, even in meetings. Like just recently, we had a budget meeting. We saw a good number of youth attending and even contributing some of the points there at the budget meeting. So it was one of the successes that we noticed in the community.
Then as you were conducting sessions, you could invite some officers from other ministries, some officials from other ministry or other organization, pertaining on the topic that we will be looking at. So we invited Mr. Nkomo, who is a nurse in the Ministry of Health, who came with the equipment to use, looking on comprehensive sexuality education. The program was on condom programming. So now the youth, they are now aware on how to use the contraceptive condoms.
Now we're going to move on to the lessons learned. So looking on to the lessons learned, we have engagement of community leaders. We noticed that engaging community leaders and other stakeholders could assist us in making work a bit easier. That is assisting us on the venue and also on mobilization. Then also in my case, there were young people that were coming up to me and opening up to their issues, to the issues that they were going through. So in my case, it actually taught me to be very, very confidential with people's personal information.
In my case, I've learned that for us to bring male youth into activities like this, we have to organize sporting tournaments or to involve sporting activities, because male youth usually they have an interest on sports.
Okay, in my case, I learned that teamwork is the key to goal achieving, because I learned that by engaging community leaders, it makes work easier. They assist in organizing.
Okay, also on the other case, we also learned through other organizations that the introduction of incentives could help motivate young people. The reason being was because we're having other organizations like the Dreams. It offers incentives to the young people. So now, when you talk of Restless, they would ask, Miss Nigan, Murukutipei, what are you offering? So now talking of saying we're going to give you their refreshments and capacitation on these life skills and knowledge, it would sound a bit offish and yeah, something like that. So we noticed that they attend more to those programs that offer them incentives. Then also creating good relations with young people around us. It will also help even in whatever that you're doing. Once you have good relation with people, in whatever activity that you're doing, it becomes way easier because you know you've got a good channel and a good network with the people around you. Okay, so then we move on to the impact of the project. On the impact, we also noticed that young people gained confidence to attend and also contribute in community activities. Then also, personally, the project enhanced our facilitation skills. Okay, then also the other impact was on cooperative groups and clubs that were formulated. That is after conducting the livelihood session and entrepreneurship session.
There was an involvement into business as a result of discussions from livelihood case. Some of the youth are now having their project, some of them they are now having businesses.
Okay, they even take the part in the community activities.
Okay, then we're going to be moving on and looking onto the challenges that we faced. So some of the challenges was we're having some of these community leaders and stakeholders that are the ones that are supplying drugs in the community. Then we also noticed that the attendance of the boys, or say males, was very, very low.
In my case, I had the challenge of walking long distances to venues, and also some other youth would walk long distances to the venues for the sessions. This also led to other villages not getting the opportunity of this program. There was misinformed of youth. Some of the people, they were saying this organization is a political organization, is being sent by a political organization to you youth such that you could vote for them, while the organization is apolitical. We have a challenge of venues whereby we'll be having sessions maybe on an open place like under the tree. And then during rainy season, if it rains, then there's a distraction of the sessions.
Even clashing of our activities with the community activities. It was a challenge.
Okay, then also there was a challenge of inconsistent supply of refreshments due to the shortage of funds, which also led to the reduction in the attendance of the champions, because some of them were attracted by these refreshments. So when they come and later on find out the refreshments are not there, then guaranteed next time they're not coming, and they'll tell you face to face that then also those the duplication of activities and topics. Looking at the layout of the program, its objectives, we also have other organizations having the same objectives, looking onto young people. So they would actually say, why are we having like the same topics, same activities that are being covered by other organizations? For example, in my community, we have the National AIDS Council, the Sister to Sister and Brother to Brother, covering the same topics that we're covering already. So this duplication is the other that led to the reduction in the number of attendance of the young people. And we also have had a challenge on illiteracy. We have had youths, some of the youths that cannot read or even write in these communities. So it was sometimes a challenge coming in with a topic and say, today we're going to be talking about conflict management. Then they'll be opening their eyes and looking at you and saying, what is community conflict management? Then you would start explaining. When explaining, you'd be trying to break it down in the local language, right? Then we also had a challenge when it came to signing the registers. Some cannot even write and some cannot read. So you'd oftenly be assisting them one-on-one, and even onto the others, you'd in turn end up writing their names for them and filling up their details for them, which at times was a challenge.
We also faced the problem of community denial, whereby people will be saying, what are you going to tell us? Who are you? Some of the youths are married. You will find their husband will come and say, what are you telling our wives? What are you teaching them? Do you want them to run away from us? So it's a community denial. During farming season, we were facing a challenge whereby youth sometimes will not attend sessions. The number are going to reduced to a very low. There was a lack of resources to engage or for a law enforcement to respond to some of the cases in the community.
Then we're going to further, actually lastly, we're going to be looking on to the recommendations. So these are the recommendations that we had. First of all, we suggested consistent supply of refreshments. Then, and also probably introduce sporting activities, especially for the boys. Then also the organization to try and bring something new to the table. Like we mentioned, we have a challenge, the challenge that we mentioned, and duplication of activities and topics. So probably maybe in the near future, the organization should try and bring something new.
We do recommend the organization to work hand in hand with other organizations and other government ministries such that conducive venues for sessions can be offered. For example, if we can work with the Ministry of Education, we can communicate, then we ask for a better venue there.
Okay, even the organization could provide with the facilities for long distances.
Also, working with other organizations or government ministries, it brings in the trust from other communities. For example, when you're dealing with GBV, you can be having people from the victim-friendly therapy, and then as you will be doing that, they will get trust from the organization that this organization has this objective.
Also, we felt that there is need to reach out to traditional leaders, local leaders, and also stakeholders about drug and substance abuse.
I do recommend the organization to print out pamphlets and the books in the local languages for the better understanding of objectives of the organizations in the app.
And also maybe to provide again protective clothing like the likes of the sun hats and maybe raincoats for harsh weather conditions.
As Minister of Youth, we really realize that the youth have been capacitated. The confidence that we have, the way you present yourselves, the way you articulate issues as they appear on the ground, it really shows that you have been capacitated. So if more youths are also capacitated, that means at the end of the day, we have a community that will really going to be able to understand the pros and cons for a better future. So generally, as Minister of Youth, we are proud of your presentation.
When you guys talked about the budget consultations, I smiled, because just from you guys, I don't want to talk about those who are in there, just from you guys, to hear a youth talking about the budget consultation, whether it's you only, whether you are not representing others from data, just you as a youth, to just talk about budget presentation in your presentation, that is a positive, because whenever we are doing these budget consultations at council level, you rarely see the youth. You rarely see the youth. Even to hear the youth talk about it, just knowing a schedule, a budget consultation, and you hear a young person saying, I need a council, I saw at council level that they are doing these budget consultations. It's so marvelous. So we are very happy, because this is the governance aspect. This is where government starts from. Actually, our government starts from the lower level, and you guys, please don't end here. Please don't end here. I want to encourage you, because whenever you talk of any development, it starts at that level, at council level, and it starts with the budget, because that budget defines issues of service delivery that you are talking about. before we come to restless development, I just wanted to hear, as young people, you are the owners of the program, to then say, in as much as we faced these challenges, but we still want to go out there, engage our peers, push the program. So it's fun ukuzwa kuphela ukuthi, how do you think we can circumvent around? Of course, some of the challenges might be beyond you, but maybe you got kuzangena amanye ama-stakeholders. I'm sure that's why now women affairs can come in, probably to assist. Because okunye kwakhona, from the way I was looking at it, I think it's just a matter of some internal engagements. Amanye challenges, they were more like internal engagements that were just needed. For example, if you have a session under a tree, you wouldn't want Usto from Restless to come and talk to a school head. Ukuthi ngicela nimdingele indawo yokuya. No. We wouldn't want that. So sifuna vele wena as a young person ukuthi wena ngokwakho utshengise ukuthi wena lo head wesikolo sakhona, you know each other. Why? Because khona esikolo, that's where we've got a constituents of young people. Therefore, ungafika wena esikolo, even ucele esikolo lapana to say, okay, fine, I don't want to have this session under a tree. Can you give me an opportunity even to dismiss abantwana ku assembly, so that I can just come and have 2 minutes in Kurumela. Ku assembly yabo yona le. You can talk to them, those who are in school and others. I'm just thinking around to then say, okunye kwakhona, maybe it's just a matter of how then we'll extend and engage these other stakeholders, because they should know that you are there. We found ukuthi ukansela kula community halls, akhona ama community halls probably awe khatshana, yeah, kwezinye indawo. The councillor also should know that you are there, because you work with the councillor. So khona phana ungabona ukuthi ukansela yena ungani uyanjwenga timela phela lapana ile wardco yakhe. Yeah, you are also a member of the wardco, eh? Yeah. So when uyafika ku wardco yona leyana and as a representing the youth, then share. So it's a matter of us now going forward to then say, yes, there are some of these challenges which are there, but how can we circumvent some of course, amanya kona, like I said, they might be beyond you. Amanya kona afuna tina is what? As the stakeholders to then say, Minister of Women Affairs, Minister of Youth, Minister of Education, how can we go around this? I want to run away from Usto. Why am I saying this? Because we are trying to build sustainability. We are trying to build sustainability, and we don't want this to fall. So the more we mention Restless, what it means is that tomorrow, if Restless is out, it means that all these efforts, they will be just in vain. So we want to start now. While Restless icon, but we want to start now to make sure that we strengthen our own structures, our own mechanism, on our own with these stakeholders that you already have. Then we can move. But colleagues, the youth leaders, I think Uwavumbe touched on the issue of drug and substance abuse. I wanted to mention that thank you for that recommendation, and I hope from Wange same Kondo you have launched your drug and your district. Yes, and involve them, let them be involved. These guys from Tete, because the drug and substance abuse is now it's a national disaster. It's been declared a national disaster, and it's now a civil protection issue. So we are saying we are now in an emergency mode in the drug and substance abuse, and thank you for noting that. So already the chiefs, ama chiefs saying, kuma ward lapa, they're supposed to have ama committees. Please, may you go out there, encourage the young people to be part of those structures. Because glamour structures under each chief. Then from there, we have the one that is also at the district level. We are also expecting you guys to, because we wanted the youth to be more involved in this one as compared to us. Because like you said, you guys were saying, the more linama likhuluma lawan, they understand you better than they understand someone from the offices. They understand you better. So be involved. Be involved. Hambani lo involved konangale because the structures are now already there.
There's somewhere where you mentioned to say the youths are saying we are tired. You are talking about this. The other organization is coming, talking about the same thing. You sell it slupa. There was a point that came, and for sure, slupa. That's very true. But then, what do? We are not we are not competing in development, but we are complementing each other. So then, what you should do is you are a community-based person. Then maybe say dreams. You've got a community-based person who is trying to capacitate the youth. What you should do then is you collaborate. You join hands together. It's not like you target the same youth today, you go and tell them about drug and substance abuse. Tomorrow dreams comes in and say drug and substance abuse. It becomes monotonous. Yeah. So what we can do as community leaders is targeting the same people. Kambani longe so that you help each other to talk to the youth on the issues that are affecting them. So what I'm saying is those are the real issue. Singa continue sivachela ngento A1 singama different organizations. Fine, we are civil society organizations, but as government what we encourage is hlanganisani nxa kuyikuthi ubize umhlangano ngeWednesday wena ufuna ukuthi Thursday targeting the youths chomi kasihlanganise senjani sikhulume labo sindawonye. If it is the issue of registers and the reports, you can still produce your own report and the other person produce a report going two different directions, but the one destination is the government that needs feedback from what you guys are doing. So I just wanted ukuthi sincedisane khona lapho nxa bekhona abanye abafundisa the same thing vambanani izandla lifundise lindawonye, then I think kuzaphuma kuhle. Then you also mentioned the issue of saying you have covered 5 out of 7, if I got you correct, topics. And today you are graduating, you are getting the certificates. What are the plans? I won't get the answer from Restless, but what about the 2 topics that are left? Liza kuyenza njani? I think Liza sincedisa kona lapho because I think the 2 topics are just as important as the other 5 that you have covered. Li planani ngawo ama topics ang 2, the youths need to what? To get information on those topics. Then last but not least, you talked about them incentives. You said there are organizations that are giving incentives. My question is incentives to you, to who? The youth community leader who is working tirelessly to lead the community, the youths, or it's for those individual youths that are participating kuma sessions eliwa conductayo. Angisazwisanga lapana ukuthi umele enikwe something yilaba yini esibaqoqayo sibafundisa kumbe it's you guys who are doing the good job in the community. I think akusaphumanga kuhle lapha. Angisakuzwisisanga.
Like I mentioned earlier, some these incentives are being given to the young people that are taking part in these activities.
Okay.
Some of the organizations will come and give maybe the 2 participate. We say this one is corrective, this one is corrective. We give them a coke and then a coke and
Okay. Che, do I still have the platform? Yeah, maybe I think the DDC mentioned the issue of sustainability beyond Restless. One day Restless will leave Cholocho and go to another district because vice versa. If we hammer much on the issue of saying these participants sivanika incentives, the day Restless will say bye-bye to Cholocho and Wange, what would then happen? So my issue comes to say, akula ino okunye that we can do as ama-youths. Sesicabangela ukuthi kusasa iprogram iyaphela. Sihlangana laphana, let's talk about issues of economic strengthening using the resources that we have as ama-youth. We can start the savings as a group. I understand the present day youth, by the end of the month, we have at least 100 rand. From 100 rand, you can save 10 rand. You are a group of 25 youths that are meeting under a tree. You start saving. So even after Restless have gone, you have started the savings group and you are embarking on income generating activities.
Very interesting to see young youths really interested in the budget consultation. But most importantly, I noted when he was presenting, he mentioned that there are youths, some are now in certain committees, water point committees, developmental committees on the ground, and were actively involved. You've got water point committees, you've got omunye kathesi is a SDC member, omunye ngumabhalane ka-village head, ajo. So you'll note in programming various programs that is why as a WASH program, you name them. We've been having a scenario where we don't find these youths in these particular developmental committees posts, but now we have them in the posts. Or which if we actually scale up this program, we might find when we are now mobilizing Stingama youth, it might not be difficult because there was committees. Some of them have got bright ideas, but we cannot tip them because they always look at them as intozan. So I think as we move forward with programming, this is not necessarily to Restless, but mainly to us developmental partners. I think we should try and strengthen the efforts that the youths are showing, to try and bring the youths up front, to take up these particular developmental posts esilazo kuma communities ethu. Bekhanye labo abadala behlezi belama views abo because mostly the youths are blaming the adults and the adults are blaming the youths. But ama-youths ayenza injengo ama-youths athi abadala bafuna njani. But let's try and find what bridging the gap. Why? Because as kubhala phansi ama-minutes kuhlala phansi umhlangano usebhuse sekhala phana sithi kanti babe sikhuluma ngani. Some of the decisions azayenziwa, you will have an input into them. And uzathi but lapha mdala mnambona mgodini wanti sesifuna lapha ka uyenze. Asamenza njani? So fine njalo. Already bathi thina yama youth sifuna kuyasihlupha lapha nanti. Yithi sihamba siya ukhamanzi. Kanti sawufaka ngapha kunjani ngathi abantu bezosurvey endaweni nje government. So it's important for a representation of our youths in all these committees that we have. Yes, so I wonder, but I think there are more that we need to have the youth involved in. And at the moment, we are happy to my colleagues here, my stakeholders. Thank you for supporting them. Restless Development also says another thank you. However, I'm seeing Makara Lapamandwana, my recommendations, inconsistent supply chain. Yes. So this one, I'll bring it back to our partners. And yes, meanwhile, while we're talking about sustainability, but as the program runs, to avoid the fatigue, participants or those participants that are willing to join us, let's not have a scenario whereby our funding cycle breaks in between and there's no activity happening. They need motivation. And so as the program starts, let's have it going on full force. And then let's share with our developmental, with our other partners, our supporters, to keep on giving us that support. Meanwhile, that is government and as stakeholders, we were always there to support that response. But let's try and make sure when the train starts, let's not having stop in between. Because
that aspect to say no, everyone needs that constituency, everyone needs the youth constituency. Because if you realize the demographic dividends, they constitute the bulge of the the population. So everyone is actually targeting that group. So I think to avoid conflicts, especially with the security sector, because you realize with us development ministries, we don't have any problem with any organizations. But when it comes to security, they will say, now this is now an interesting area. They trust it maybe when it's a ministry. But when it's an organization, issues to do with advocacy, civic engagements, I want to tell you this truth. Security department, they don't trust. Why? Because we know of what other organizations are doing. It's not there, because they have to protect the interests of the nations. Because once they leave the youth being targeted by the wrong people, we might create chaos in the what? In the nation. So I think there's need for what? To have that approach. And maybe another thing, it was discussed by I think it's Women Affairs, the issue to do with the collaboration. Some of the activities, I think if you can have that multi-sectoral approach, I think it's better than to say we have maybe National AIDS Council going today, we have the Restless another day, and we have even ministry going on its own. You know, the impact to me, yes, we'll be reaching, the message will be going, but if we pull our resources together, we realize by the end of the day we will be having high impact activity, but with the little resources. Because we'll be having someone from National AIDS Council coming with the little resources. We have also Ministry of Youth maybe with something. We have, let's say, another organization in the community. So if we have that multi-sectoral approach, I think it might actually smoothen the way how we conduct our activities, especially at what levels. Because you realize at the times that there's that aspect of competition rather than a complementary. Because when we are in a community, we should complement each other's effort instead of what? Competing. So if we start competing, then we will lose our focus. So I think we should have a multi-sectoral approach in executing our activities.
The notion of leaving no one behind. In as much as they might be labor constrained, I think it is just prudent for us to make sure that we are deliberate in engaging youth with disabilities so that you can also strengthen their capacity as we are doing our projects. Then also in terms of implementation, to make sure that the youth attend our activities, I also think we must be intentional on how we are planning. Because remember, there are roles that one must do at home, especially if it's a female. There are chores that they must do before coming to the meeting. And if we have a meeting at 8, they can maybe be able to attend at 10 after doing some household chores. So let's also be mindful to strike a balance between the personal things that the youth must do, at the same time us needing to be working with them in our project activities. So I'm just imploring us to also think along the lines of social inclusion, to say, let's also be mindful of those youth with disabilities.
I wanted to comment on where they were talking about drug abuse, because if I heard you well, you already know some of the peddlers who are doing or who are peddling drugs in the community. And I think the issue that came to my mind now was the protection of the YCLs, like in the communities where they are in, when they report these people or when they highlight the people who are doing who are peddling the drugs, do they also have protection where they are? And I was also following in when we were talking about the issue of transport for the youth champions who will be participating as well. When we were in the DDC's officer, in his office, we saw the whole map of Cholocho, and we're looking at how wards are fairly spaced from each other. Ward 9 is here, Ward 12, Ward 13 is here, and maybe you want to meet with YCOs in youth champions in Ward 9, but still where they are is quite far. But practically speaking, for us to say we can support even the youth champions who will be attending, that could be difficult. But you find in other areas, we take the training to where the youth champions are. It's easier to fund YCO's travel to go to where the participants are. If it's a smaller, if it's a school, I hear the DDC was talking about partnering with the Ministry of Education, maybe it's a school in the area, then we support the YCO's travel to those areas. It's another way we can make, just trying to manage the situation as well. Then lastly, I also saw that we need to reinvent ourselves as well, because I think all of us in this room, we do appreciate that working with young people is one of the most difficult constituents. Why? Because there are people who are still to find themselves within the community. Where do I stand? And the issue of motivation really comes in, because if something is not paying at the end of the day, why am I attending? Why am I dedicating myself to this? What do I gain at the end of the day? In one of the trainings, in one of the areas, we learned that just a simple certificate for a YCO who's participating can go a long way, because it's something that they can use as reference of the training that they've underwent. But I think on us now is also trying to make the training and the engagements interesting, and for a young person to say, you know, when you've got a bigger journey where you've got, you want to travel somewhere, you don't sleep well because you have anxiety, or okay, say and all that. So trainings should also be like that. Let's say we have a training tomorrow. A young person should not sleep. I should attend. You know, they should be enticed inwardly for them to participate in that training. And it's also up to us in identifying and designing such programs. So thank you so much to the YCOs. I really appreciate and I commend the work that you are doing. It's not only the environment that's harsh in here, even the economic environment is difficult as well. And we also have to take cognizance of those issues as well. So thank you so much.
I really want to commend you guys for the work that you're doing. But I also want to say that it's very, very important. The Bible says you have to put your light on a hill so that it's seen. So I encourage you to hone your skills. You've got a smartphone to take good pictures, just to be able to make sure that you're telling the story. Whether it's on social media or whatever, the kind of work that you do is important work. And sometimes if it's publicized, you see we've got somebody with the camera here, we want to make sure that people know the work that you guys are doing, the support that you have within, within your district and your ward. And it's so important. It's so important to let other people outside, because we can talk to ourselves sometimes and pat each other on the back, but we want people in Matabeleland, in other places, to be able to understand that this is a model of how some of these things work. This is how we can do it. This is the kind of support that we got from our local authorities. And so it's important to hone those skills as well, to be able to tell your stories in ways that let your light shine. So that's it really. I commend you and I encourage you to use the tools that you have. Many of us have this thing. We don't need the big ones like that one, or where's Max? This one. We can just use this just to show the work that we're doing. And to be able to tell those stories. Short videos. If you're a youth, a lot of times you're seeing TikTok and seeing things like that. What can you do that's similar, that encourages other youth to get involved, where you see that there's a low engagement and the like? So hone those skills and be able to tell your stories in ways that are positive, in ways that demonstrate the support that you get from the stakeholders around you, because that's very, very important. Okay, thank you very much.
Now putting on our jackets. We are now rolled. So now we are enrolling. Come this side. Come this side.
We are now about to issue our certificates. This is a certificate of achievement for Beverly Mulauzi for completion of the 2022 to 23 Youth Community Leaders Program on positive youth development. Beverly Mlauzi, you can come. The following is a certificate of achievement for Kelvin Piri for the completion of the 2022-2023 Youth Community Leaders Program on Positive Youth Development. Mr. Kelvin Piri, you are now a youth community leader. A certificate of achievement for Ngube Nompumelelo for the completion of the 2022 to 2023 Youth Community Leaders Program on positive youth development. Ngube Nompumelelo, you are now a youth community leader.
I-picture nale uwawumbe uzathi eseDubai usitshela abanye ukuthi ngake ngathatha ifoto ngila bayale. So please make sure that you keep it in your archives.
The following is also a certificate of achievement for Grace Sibanda in absentia for the completion of 2022 Youth Community Leaders Program on Positive Youth Development. Grace Sibanda in absentia is now being awarded this certificate and is now a youth community leader.
So
let's I don't know.
Bekungekho lula ukuzothi ngiyofika la. Ngibuye lapha ngingumwayisi under Restless Development. Sisebenza sikhangele sikuhange district ku ward 14. Besikhava amanye ama topics besilama problems kade sihlangana lawo, ama challenges kade sihlangana lawo. Ngokusebenza sisebenzela ndawonye lamanye ama organizations labo government ama government offices. Sikwanisile ukuthuja ukuze siyofika lapho esithole khona izicoco namhlanje. Ngiyabonga iRestless Development ilethe a very great impact empilweni yami, inginike utshintsho sengikwanise lami ukuba le something ebambekayo ezandleni from Restless Development. Ngikhulumela phezulu kokuthi sengiqalise ama project ami under Restless Development nxa sikhangelane le topic yenye kade ikhona phana ku framework entrepreneurship. Sengiqalise ukufuya inkukhu zami le project lami ngiyathengisa njalo. So ngingu breadwinner wasekhaya sengikwanisa lami ukuthi ngithola okunye kungancedisa emzini. Ngiyabonga ngisuka lapha njengomuntu osethole icoco. Ngifisa ukuthi ingabe iRestless Development sikwanisa ukusebenza sindawonye. Sikontinue sisiya khona le sifaka amanye ama youth ku program. Sibabiza bebuya bejoina. Silandele iprogram naleyana sibengena ku leadership. Kube le great impact empilweni la kuma community.
Ibizwa nguBeverly Mlauzi from Wange, in Tete under Ward 18. So this journey has been very, very fulfilling and very successful. CNZ induction training that was last year in September. Then the induction training was on livelihood skills. We trained as young community leaders. So we went back to the communities after the induction training to cascade sessions and work with young people. Though at times it was quite challenging because at times mobilizing young people could be a challenge, especially the boys. Then and also we faced another challenge looking at denial by the community, whereby the organization at times it was regarded as a political organization because it came towards the election. That's when the program was introduced. So in most cases, they could take up the program and say, you people are political, and yet it was an apolitical program. So also we had a few successes that we noticed. It had a great impact looking onto the youths and even personally. So looking onto the community, we have now young people taking up leadership roles, especially looking at young women. We now have young women taking up leadership roles. Like personally in my community, I had up to 2 young women who campaigned for the seat for the councillor, though their ballot names at the end did not come out. So I don't know what happened during the process. Then we also have a few also partaking in activities like we have cleanup campaigns that we're also doing. That was part of the community projects that we're doing, visiting the old people's home that we have there in Dete. Also partaking in gatherings and meetings that happen in the community, like the budget consultation meeting, and even also they have now gained confidence also in participating. Like they are now able to throw up points during those kind of gatherings.
Mina nginompumelelo Ncube, ngiyisholotsho, ngisuka kuwadi 21 eChibizina. Ngisebenza ku-Restless Development Organization, ngingu-Youth Community Leader ka-Wadi 21. Our aim was to enhance youth empowerment and a positive engagement. Sidale utshintsho oluningi kakhulu, ekakhulu ku-leadership. Ama-youth aqale ukuteka amaphathi ku-leadership. Ngoba laphana siphume sesilaba ama-youth aqalisa uku-attenda ama-meetings e-community engagement. Kuyinto ade benganjani bengayenzi. Okuyikuthi hayi i-organization sidale sibili utshintsho olukhulu, babona ukuqakatheka kwe-leadership. Hayi sesibe empowile nge-knowledge, asebe le knowledge eningi ngoba sebekwazi ukuqakatheka kwezinto eziningi.
We started a program called the Youth Community Leadership Program, after the realization that the young people are left out in terms of taking up leadership positions, being a part of the community meetings, being a part of the community activities that take place in the different places in the different wards. So we want young people to uptake leadership positions in the community. They have the energy, they have the capacity, they are willing to take up those positions. So we also want to create a platform for them as an organization, for them to be a part and parcel of the community activities, particularly the leadership positions. So for now, we have managed to recruit young people in Cholocho and in Wange. We were given, out of the 2 districts that we are working in Wange, we were given 3 wards, and in Cholocho, we were given 5 wards. When we're looking for community leaders, we don't really look at umuntu O level or academic qualification. We just want someone who is naturally a facilitator, someone who can speak to the people, someone who is willing to work in the community and speak to the people. And umuntu othembakeleyo when it comes to ukuthi sinxa singamnika information sithi mana phambi kwabadala and usibikele ilizwi elingaka, umuntu okwanisa ukuthi abe lesibindi sokuthi akhulume labantu, athathe i-leadership position, athungamele ukuze izinto zikhambe ngendlela efaneleyo. Asikhangela ukuthi ule education enjani, akula ukuthi umbeni sifuna umuntu ole O level, hayi sifuna kuphela umuntu okwanisa ukusebenza labantu, umuntu okwanisa ukuphila labantu, umuntu futhi lesimile esihle esigabeni. Nguye umuntu esikhangelele ukuthi sisebenzelane ndawonye laye, ngoba egcineni vele sifuna ukuthi sithuthukise abantu abatsha. Asila mgomo ukuthi sifuna umuntu ole 5 O levels, ngoba ukhona omunye abe lesipho sakhe esihle even engela ama academic qualifications akhona nalawo 5 O levels labo A levels. CEAA Restless Development, we work in collaboration with the various government ministries, particularly the Ministry of Youth, as they focus much on youth empowerment and youth development, which is our key area that we are focusing on. So, so far, we do not work in isolation. We work with the government ministries, particularly the Ministry of Youth, the Ministry of Women Affairs, the Ministry of Health, when it comes to aspects like cascading sessions on sexual reproductive health and rights, the contraceptive methods, how to use the various contraceptive methods. So we also work with the Ministry of Education. As we highlighted earlier, sometimes we face challenges of venues. We rely on the Ministry of Education to provide venues for us. Not only that, there are so many young people, abasezikolo, teenagers, that we also need to reach out to. So we cannot work in isolation. We also work with the Ministry of Education. So okukhona ukuthi asisebenze in isolation. Yeah, indaba ye single cab civil, it's a challenge. However, yeah, but okukhona ukuthi babe belesifiso sokuthi besixhase. The idea is they also want to be a part of the activities that are conducted by Restless Development, because in a way we are here to complement the government and they do appreciate our compliments. Labo at the same time, when we get to the field, basincedisa kakhulu. So babe belesifiso sokuthi behambe lathi labo bayebona ukuthi uground senzani kahle kahle. So I think, yeah, it's something that we really need to look at that as an organization, to say maybe if you are to get a bigger vehicle, it would be easier to have a fully packed meeting where you have at least 3 or 4 ministries. Imagine if we were to have a session on drug and substance abuse, then you have the Ministry of Youth and have the Department of Social Development, and also have the Department of Health, touching the different aspects around drug and substance abuse. I think it would be a highly informative and packed meeting if you were to have AMA ministries, maybe 2 or more, going with us to help us fulfill or to support us.